Good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started with today's service. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll begin with opening meditation. If you could all please join me in Gassho. Easy is to judge the mistakes of others. Difficult is to recognize your own mistakes. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Okay, we'll continue with the three treasures. Fortunate is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Rare is it to encounter the teachings of the Buddha. Now we hear it. If we do not seek the truth of the Dharma in this life, in what life shall we find it? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken within us our highest aspiration. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the Dharma and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord, in a life of harmony, in a spirit of universal brotherhood, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriad of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful teaching. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Okay, we'll continue with the chanting of Junirai. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Ke shu tennin shokugyo amida senyo zokuson zai mimyo anako muryo bushi shuinyo konjiki shinryo nyosen no shamata gyo nyozobu nyomoku jonyaku shonen e koga chorai minason menzen nenjo nyomangatsu iko yunyo sennichi gatsu shonyo tenku kushira koga chorai minason kanon chorai kanchu jun shuju myoso hoshogon nobuku gero makeman koga chorai minason mubimuku koshojo shutoku kyoketsu nyokoku shosani akutoku jizai koga chorai minason jipo myomon bosashu muryo shoma josandan isho shujo ganni kijun koga chorai ら損根体保険知書系前言少女如来座大い座上如千の子が将来未来損自歩将来勝無し権限人図しあな戦後尊厳上苦行子が将来未来損小無量無我と薬女水月伝女の一種説法無明に子が将来未来損非損無説無悪名薬無女人悪の主任死神教非損子が将来未来損非損無量勉強無少種悪知識往生大死亡内子が将来未来損画説非損苦の苦事修善無縁如海水小逆前言少女者永世宗上小い子ナマンダムナマンダムナマンダムナマンダムナマンダムナマンダム願にしくどく平等正祭道本菩提心往生安那公Namandos, namandos, 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 namandos. We'll continue with the recitation of the Golden Chain. Golden Chain. I am a link in Amita's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. I will be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amita's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Okay, so for the first gatha, we'll be singing What a Wonderful World in the style of Israel Kamakawe Ole, which also is known as, he's also known as Is. So if you know kind of the style of the song, then you can sing along. I mean, I'm sure if you know the song, you'll be able to figure it out either way, but that's what we'll be singing. Well, I see trees of green and red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and I see clouds of white, brightness of day. I like the dark and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow soaring in the sky are also in the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Okay, now we'll go into the Dharma talk. So for today, I wanted to talk a little bit about how we naturally group people. So, of course, with everything that's going on right now, I think that there has been this attention that's been brought, as I've talked about it, why it's important for us to not just see each other with this kind of everyone matters mentality, but rather to recognize the differences. So instead of like this kind of colorblind understanding, but to see how all of us are different and we should appreciate that kind of differences. So I wanted to pick that song because I felt like the message behind it wasn't that he was colorblind, but that he recognized all the different colors of the rainbow, the colors of the trees, of the roses, and it's only through his appreciation of the differences in these colors that he could see how beautiful and how wonderful the world is. So, of course, right now the world is kind of caught up in turmoil, but as an ideal, as a way to work towards a wonderful world, it's important for us to see these kinds of differences, see how those differences can be beautiful, how they can be a strength, how they have a history that can be called upon to help into the future. So if we recognize the differences in everyone, then it will help us to build towards this wonderful world. I kind of was hesitant a little bit before making this talk because I wasn't sure if maybe it was too young, or the audience was too young, because Sunday service, right, for Dharma school students, and so I was wondering if it might be too early for them to hear about it. But I read this article that some psychologists did on children at a very young age, and they recognized that even from the ages of like 3 to 5, that kids were beginning to group certain kinds of people based on how they look. And I want to be very clear that this is independent of any parents' interaction. So how the parents felt or what they thought or whatever way they were leaning was completely independent of how the kids were acting. So I'm definitely not blaming the parents. This is just how humans work, and they work like this from a very young age. That children try to figure out how the world works, how it is. It's like this big puzzle that they're trying to figure out and make sense of. So by doing that, and this is natural within humans, is they have kind of this groupism, or they group things together. Now I know a young child that used to call everything a dog because, or not everything, but anything that was furry with 4 legs, they would call it a dog. And that was just because to them, that's what dog meant, was something that was furry and had 4 legs. And so kind of with this group, grouped all furry things with 4 legs as a dog. Now, obviously now as adults and the child can recognize that that was incorrect, but that was this starting point where trying to figure out the world, they tried to pick out the different kinds of categories, different kind of groups that they could put things into, and then upon reflecting upon it, was able to change their mentality. So it's very important that we look at ourselves and we recognize these kinds of things. I wanted to share a story which, I don't know, kind of funny and kind of relates, but maybe illustrates a point how it's very difficult for us to recognize this within ourselves, but it's easy for us to look at other people. As the first quote from this morning was. So whether or not this is true, I'm not sure, but it's been told in many different iterations, so maybe you've heard some version of it. This takes place at the airport, and there's a woman who is coming back from a long business trip. She has a connecting flight, but the connecting flight is delayed, so she knows that she'll have to be in the airport for quite a while. So she goes over to one of those kiosks or something, those bookstores and everything that have all the snacks. And so she stops there to get something to do and something to eat. She buys a book, gets the coffee so she can stay up and doesn't miss her flight. And then she gets a pack of Oreos. So I'm not really sure how many Oreos are in those packs, but for this story, there's going to be 5 Oreos in this pack. Just for, I don't know, the story's purpose. Anyway, so she gets her coffee, her Oreos, and her book, and she tries to find a place in the airport to sit down. So this is much in the past, where the airport is still crowded. So the airport is very crowded right now. And she finds somehow a seat in the lounge, and the airport being very crowded, she's sitting next to somebody, which is fine. But she opens up her book and starts reading, and she becomes very soon completely absorbed in her book. But she feels her stomach rumbling a little bit. She takes a drink of her coffee, and it would be great to go with an Oreo, so she pulls out an Oreo from the pack. And then she begins eating it. To her surprise, though, the stranger in the seat next to her very calmly takes one of the Oreos out of the pack and then eats it. So she is completely shocked. so shocked that she can't even bring herself to say anything or even look at this stranger. She just got her face down in her book and continues reading. After a couple more minutes of reading, she pulls out another Oreo, the third one, and eats it. And then, amazingly, the stranger eats the fourth one, the fourth Oreo out of the pack. So, not even that, but what makes her even more aghast is that after he eats the fourth Oreo, he picks it up and offers her the last one of her Oreo pack. So this is just too much for her to tolerate. She closes her book up, she grabs all her things, she gets up, gives him a dirty look, and then walks away to her boarding gate. So as she's approaching her boarding gate, she hears the announcement that they're going to start boarding. So she puts her hand into her bag to pull out her boarding pass. And as she's fumbling around in it, she pulls out her unopened bag or her unopened pack of Oreos. So she thought that somebody was eating her Oreos, and she didn't even recognize that she had not opened her own and was actually, in fact, eating someone else's Oreos, who was very kind about it and even offered her the last one. But this, I think, is kind of an illustration for us, how it's hard for us to recognize maybe the way that we group people. It's very easy for us to see other people and be like, oh, you're doing this bad thing. But honestly, all of us naturally group people. And again, as I've kind of spoke before, how it's a very human thing, this is kind of conjecture, not completely proven, but there's this idea that the human nature aspect of fear is important for grouping things together. So if we kind of group bad things, or excuse me, not bad things, if we group other things together and we group things that are similar together, so things that are similar to us and things that are different from us, we tend to have this notion of things that are different are bad and things that are the same are good. And again, this doesn't come from any influence of any other people. This is something that is just kind of inherent within us, that we like things that are similar to us and we dislike things that are different to us. So if this is a natural aspect of humans, kind of how they've evolved over time, then it is something that we have to actively combat. We have to actively recognize and then actively try to get rid of it. We have to overcome this natural fear that comes from our way of grouping things as similar to us and different to us. So when we feel this fear, we have to recognize that we might be making an assumption. Is it truly the reason why we are afraid or feel funny? Or are we interpreting other people in a way to fit some kind of mold, trying to rationalize why we're upset or unhappy because of just the fact that they're different? So if we can figure out how to have some kind of connection with other people, and then also to practice affirmation and validation. So essentially, what is being recommended is that for us to break through these kind of fear or assumptions is that we try to make a genuine connection with people who are different from us in some kind of way. It doesn't necessarily have to be people who look different than us, but people who maybe act different, come from, they live in a different city, people who are different from us. If we try to make these kinds of connections, then it will help us to get rid of these fears and assumptions. So this is kind of a realistic or concrete way of changing that. But even before that, it's important for us to recognize this kind of behavior within us. So within Buddhism, we're taught constantly that we have to reflect. And by reflecting, we're able to confront and then work through these fears and assumptions that we have. So in the Middle Discourse Sutra, the Buddha is talking to Rahula and teaching how we should be always constantly self-reflecting. So the Buddha talks to Rahula and tells him, whenever you want to do a mental action, you should reflect on it. This mental action I want to do, would it lead to self-affliction, to the affliction of others, or both? Would it be unskilled mental action with painful consequences, painful results? If upon reflection, you know that it will lead to self-affliction, to the affliction of others, or both, it would be an unskillful mental action with painful consequences, painful results. Then any mental action of that sort is absolutely unfit for you to do. But if on reflection, you know that it will not cause affliction, it will be a skillful mental action with pleasant consequences, pleasant results, then any mental action of that sort is fit for what you do. Now, this is kind of this complicated way that the sutras are written. It's kind of repetitive, and then also with this kind of funny talking, and I think that comes from the translation and how long or how old this sutra is. But essentially what it's saying is we have to reflect on our mental action. Is it going to hurt myself? Is it going to hurt others? And if it does hurt those things, then maybe I shouldn't do it. And if I reflect on it and it will be okay, then it will be something that I should do. And this continues in the sutra when it starts with when you want to do a mental action, over to while you're doing a mental action, and then finally having done a mental action. So in each of these steps, when you're about to do something, when you are doing something, and then after you're doing something, it's important for us to reflect and think, is this something that can hurt myself? Is this something that can hurt others, or both? And then if so, how can I change it into something that will not hurt others and will not hurt myself, or will not hurt both? So in recognizing that important part of self-reflection, again, when we have these kind of split-second thoughts, when we see or interact with someone who is different from us, it's very important for us to check how we're feeling and recognize that maybe this is a way of my own human nature. Maybe this is how it's coming out, and it's coming out in a way that is not beneficial to myself or to others. So once we can confront, recognize, and understand that this is a part of who we are, we can start to hopefully reflect and then move past it. If you could all please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Okay. For our closing gatha, we will be singing Farewell. Dharma school is over for another day. Let us gather round the shrine, bow our heads and say, thank you, teachers, for your help. Thank you, everyone. Buddha's love will keep us safe till our work is done. So we'll meet again next week. Won't you take good care? Let us try to do what's right, always kind and fair. We shall spread the happiness faith in Buddha brings. Now it's time to say goodbye till we meet again. Namo Amida Butsu, sing this fine refrain. Namo Amida Butsu, sunny day or rain. Namo Amida Butsu, strong in faith remain. Namo Amida Butsu, till we meet again. If you could all please join me in Gassho for closing meditation. What do you think, Rahula? What is a mirror for? Reflection, sir. In the same way, Rahula, bodily actions, verbal actions, and mental actions are to be done with repeated reflection. The Buddha continued, "Thus, Rahula, you should train yourself. I will purify my bodily actions through repeated reflection. I will purify my verbal actions through repeated reflection. I will purify my mental actions through repeated reflection. That's how you should train yourself." Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Thank you again, everyone, for joining this service. I'll be continuing my lecture on the, or not lecture, the hot take, the part of the teaching throughout this week. And then also I'll try to post again another sort of Dharma dose. And then, of course, next Saturday we have our weekly memorial service. So please fill out the Google form if you'd like your loved one's name read during that service. And then, yeah. So we'll continue with summer services, so you can still tune in every Sunday, even though this would have been the end of the Dharma school year. So if you'd like to continue watching, I'll continue putting up the services. Okay, so take care, everyone, and take care of each other. Bye.